Hey guys, it's Courtney with the Kitchen Garten, and if you love an Earthbox like I do, then you know that you have to refill it with the dolomite and the fertilizer every season that you're going to use it, because the plants use up a lot of those nutrients. You're supposed to be able to leave the soil in for 7 years. I usually change it out a little bit more than that. And you know what? I don't know where I got that 7-year number. I think that's what I've always thought. So maybe it was in the instructions somewhere. But what I'm going to show you today is how to refill an Earthbox without using a refill kit. You can do this at home pretty simply with just 2 ingredients. So I'm going to show you how to refill your boxes without having to order a refill kit. It saves a whole lot of time and it saves a whole lot of money. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first is you want to make sure that your Earthbox is filled to the right capacity. I know that I'm going to need a little bit of topping off, and Earthbox says you don't have to fill it with good potting soil. So, and even though I just made a batch of DIY potting soil, I am going to put a little topsoil in this instead. Okay, so I need a little bit of height before I do my trench for my fertilizer. So that's the 2 things that you'll put when you're refilling your Earthbox. Is you want to use a good granular fertilizer. I do like a Spoma's Garden Tone. I also know I'm going to be planting tomatoes, so in some of my Earthboxes. So for that I might actually use Tomato Tone, but I'm not exactly sure what's going to go in this one yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the Garden Tone. And then you want dolomite lime. This is what's going to be mixed with that top inch or 2 of soil. It's going to be mixed in with the soil and dispersed evenly throughout. But first, let me top it off with some more topsoil or potting soil, whatever you have on hand. And this has been in the garage, but it's still pretty wet. Whoop. It's a bit compacted, so I want to make sure that I really break it up so that my soil is nice and loose, and I'll mix this in with the existing soil. What do you think? Huh? What do you think? All right, let's mix it in. It is rather thick and a bit wet. Even though, like I said, it's been stored in the garage, and I think I've had it in there a month. So that bag has done quite the job of keeping that stuff moist. So breaking it up and mixing it in with the soil that was already there. And remember, it's soil, not dirt. Dirt's what you track into the house on your shoes. Soil is what you grow things in. Okay, that's looking pretty nice. All right, so if you don't know the premise of an Earthbox, it's that you have a watering tube here that goes to a reservoir that's at the bottom where there is no soil. It's just a place for water so that your plants draw up moisture as they need it. You don't water from the top, which is really great. So I love an Earthbox, especially for my tomatoes. I tend to always grow tomatoes in them, cucumbers and things like that as well. So I love them. They also make a great planter if you don't have a large garden space, but you want to grow things and you want almost a guaranteed harvest. Can't help with pests, but as far as watering, you really can't go wrong, because the Earthbox will actually tell you where to plant things and how many of them to put in it. So it really takes the guesswork out. Okay, so first things first, while I don't have it completely full yet, I want to go ahead and put in a trench of fertilizer. So a refill kit for an Earthbox will tell you to put a trench in. You would put it in the middle if you are growing vegetables on either side. If you're growing tomatoes, you put it along the back, because you're only putting 2 tomato plants in this one planter. Okay, so why don't we say, for the sake of today, I'll use this as I'm planting tomatoes. The refill process is the same. I'm going to create my trench back here. Just a couple inches, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches deep. And I'm going to fill it with about a cup or so of the Espoma, or whatever granular fertilizer you enjoy. And my gardener has a lovely, their trifecta is really good. And then Vegagro I got last year and I enjoyed that as well. So I'm going to leave that here. Okay, the trench, you can see it there. La, 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 la. So I'm going to leave that here, and then I'm going to top this off with some more soil that I'm going to then mix the dolomite in with. Okay, so let's do that. In fact, I might get some potting soil just so the top is nice and loose. So I'll grab that and we'll mix the dolomite in. Okay, so this is some of my homemade potting soil. It's so much cheaper. And you can see that video right up here. So we're going to mix some of this in. I mixed in about 1.5 cups, maybe 2 cups. You can use your trowel to get it all nice and blended. Move it up here. All right, now I'm going to take this dolomite potting soil mix and I'm going to pour it across the top. Okay, and so now my planter is ready to plant. I can put my tomatoes on the front corners here, knowing that the trench of fertilizer is back there. If you happen to have some extra covers, typically the covers hold up for multiple seasons, multiple years, so you can just keep using those. But the refill kit with the dolomite and the fertilizer really can't be used beyond a season. So this is just a cheap and easy way to refill them with the same materials that Earthbox gives you to start. The dolomite that you'll see here is a little bit more granular than what Earthbox has, but it still seems to work just as fine. So I hope you found this helpful on how to refill an Earthbox without having to use a refill kit, and it goes a whole lot further. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. Happy gardening. So it has been several weeks since I planted the Earthboxes, and you can just see the great growth. And these tomatoes that were much smaller when I planted them, way down here, and also this basil, which I pruned. You can see this piece right there. I can probably go to stand to prune it again right here, and I'll do that when I need some basil here in the next week or so. But so yeah, it's working out really well, and they look gorgeous. Let me show you some others that are in my other Earthbox. See, just a nice healthy growth. Looks amazing. So you don't have to buy those refill kits. You can just refill your Earthboxes yourself. And guess what? Even without the cover, this one obviously doesn't have the plastic covering on it. They're still looking great. I don't usually ever have a problem with weeds, and so it's perfect.